Hello dear students, welcome to this lecture. Today we shall talk about the social audit, meaning, origin and its evolution. Some of the key objectives of lecture are: first, explain social audit, origin and its meaning, discuss the principles of social audit, discuss main objectives of social audit, explain the significance of social audit, discuss development of social audit in India. First, we will try to understand the meaning of social audit. Democratic governance encourages citizens to reward or punish public officials for their performance and hold them accountable. The most typical accountability mechanism is an election whereby citizens can continue to vote for those who adequately represent and respond to their needs and or punish those who do not. However, elections are often an extremely indirect and less effective accountability mechanism, as they do not allow citizens to evaluate government performance more regularly. While the vote might punish public officials by throwing them out of office, it is less effective in transforming a governance system that tolerates and sometimes even rewards bad performance. Elections are neither an accountability mechanism sufficient to hold service providers, public and private, accountable, and cannot serve as a feedback mechanism on a regular basis. Traditionally, efforts to address issues of accountability have focused on improving or strengthening the supply side of democratic governance. As such, the different branches and levels of government play a role in ensuring political checks and balances. Similarly, administrative procedures and internal controls, auditing requirements, both internal and external, and law enforcement through comptrollers, courts, and the police have been used as top-down means and approaches to improve accountability. The emphasis of this approach is on state institutions and their interaction within and between them. More recently, increased attention has been paid to improving the demand side of democratic governance. That is, strengthening the voice and capacity of citizens to demand greater accountability from public officials and service providers directly. This approach emphasizes actors outside the state, comprising checks and balances on government within all three branches of government. It involves civil society, non-governmental organizations, independent media, watchdog organizations, and influential think tanks or research organizations. As such, initiatives to enhance the ability of citizens and stakeholders to engage with public officials and policymakers in a more informed, direct, and constructive manner have been getting more attention and support. This reflects a growing shift to democratic governance issues related to public policy making, empowerment, and citizen participation, all of which form the basis for social audit. In this context, social audit is an accountability mechanism where citizens organize and mobilize to evaluate or audit the government's performance and policy decisions. It rests on the premises that when government officials are watched and monitored, they feel greater pressure to respond to their respective constituencies and have fewer incentives to abuse their power. Therefore, from the perspective of social audit, the critical questions and premise are whether citizens have the skills, capacity, and tools to monitor and evaluate their governments and decision makers effectively. Social audit can be defined as an approach and process to build accountability and transparency in the use and management of public resources. It relies on citizens or civil society organizations' engagement to directly or indirectly demand accountability and transparency in the public policy and budget cycles. Social audit is participatory and can be an anti corruption and efficiency enhancing mechanism. It is based on the premise that citizens want and have the right to know what the government does, how it impacts them, and that the government has an obligation to account for and be transparent to citizens. In a modern democratic system, social auditing is seen as a powerful tool that is associated with accountability and transparency. It enhances transparency and accountability in government schemes and various public welfare programs and projects. A social audit can be considered an empowering process in which the user community validates the usefulness and quality of the scheme or program through a monitoring process. It is beyond a financial audit that checks bills, vouchers, and books of account. It is a continuous process that includes verification of works at various stages of implementation of programs, schemes with the active involvement of the key stakeholders. Now, dear students, we will try to understand the origin and evolution of social auditing. The concept of social audit system can be traced back to 1930s when Theodore J. Krebs first articulated the idea that individuals were concerned with evaluating the social performance of business. Krebs' 1940 monograph, Measurement of the Social Performance of Business, is one of the earliest references to social audit. In this monograph, Krebs examines the social responsibility of corporations in relation to the needs of the nation. In 1953, Howard R. Bowen further developed the concept of social audit. He proposed that social audit should be a high-level independent assessment conducted by a group of impartial auditors. These auditors would possess a social orientation and technical expertise in fields such as law, engineering, theology, philosophy, economics, sociology, psychology, personal, and government. During the 1970s, the concept of social audit continued to evolve as a means of breaking down the social responsibility of businesses into identifiable components. This period marked the maturation of social audit, with Barr and Fenn being recognized as pioneers of the modern form. One of their considerations defined social audit as a commitment to systematically assess and report on a company's activities that have a social impact within a meaningful and definable domain. In 1970s, private corporations in British Commonwealth, various European countries and United States were compelled to address the growing demands of consumers and environmental movements. This led to a greater emphasis on social audit, to ensure corporate accountability and transparency. In response, these corporations adopted a range of strategies to engage stakeholders and communities in the decision making process actively. Recognizing the significance of reaching out to key stakeholders, corporations realized that by doing so, they could gain a deeper understanding of their impact and requirements, enhance their products and services, foster a healthier and more productive corporate culture, and ultimately bolster their overall productivity and profitability. In 1980s, the concept of social audit transitioned from private to the public sector in response to emerging trends in democratic governance. As countries continued to strengthen their democratic governance in 90s and 2000s, regular and transparent electoral processes, the importance of social audit grew. Concerns over the quality of democratic governance heightened, leading citizens worldwide to develop mixed feelings about the impact of democratic institutions and public policies on their daily lives. Lately, social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and WhatsApp have played an increasingly significant role in empowering citizens to expose corrupt practices and mismanagement and hold governments accountable. Simultaneously, international donor communities and organizations like Transparency International have recognized the crucial role of accountability and transparency in democratic governance. Prominent international organizations, including UNDP, World Bank, European Union, and various bilateral donors, are actively supporting social auditing initiatives in numerous countries worldwide. These organizations themselves are also facing pressure to enhance their transparency and accountability. Thus, the social audit concept has evolved and gained prominence as democratic governance has progressed. Citizens are utilizing social media platforms to voice their concerns and demand accountability, while international organizations are recognizing the significance of transparency in promoting effective democratic governance. Now, dear students, we will try to understand the principles of social audit. Social auditing methods employed worldwide have revealed several fundamental principles that underpin this practice. The important principles of social audit are: first is transparency. It is imperative for the government to adopt complete openness in its administration and decision-making processes. This entails a proactive duty to provide the public unrestricted access to all relevant information. Second is accountability. Elected officials and government employees must be held immediately and openly accountable for their actions or inactions, ensuring that all parties affected by their decisions are included. Third is participation. The process of decision making and validation should involve the right-based participation of all individuals, rather than solely relying on their representatives. Then is representative participation. In situations where predetermined options are necessary, affected parties should have the right to provide informed consent as a group or as individuals. Then, comprehensive reporting. Organizations must provide detailed reports on every aspect of their performance and activities. Regular reporting. Social accounts should be created on a regular basis to ensure that the concept and practice of social auditing are deeply ingrained in the organization's culture. Comparative analysis. Organizations should have the means to compare their performance against industry benchmarks and the performance of other similar entities. Verification. Social accounts should be audited by qualified individuals or organizations with no financial stake. By adhering to these principles, organization can ensure a professional and effective social audit process that promotes transparency, accountability, and meaningful participation. This approach fosters a culture of continuous improvement and enables organizations to benchmark their performance against industry standards. Verified social accounts provide credibility and assurance to stakeholders, reinforcing the importance of social responsibility and ethical practices. Now we will try to understand the significance and impact of social audit. Social audit has become a key component of any democratic governance and anti-corruption strategy. It can provide answers to the key question of the quantity of public resources being managed by governments. Because of social audit exercises, policymakers are increasingly recognizing the critical importance of effective resource use. Some have been pledged to reform the delivery and management of resources. In older democracies, public accountability and transparency are much enhanced by independent work on public spending conducted by the media, civil society organizations, and think tanks. By contrast, in newly democratic countries, there is still a deficit of local capacity and independence of government entities to review, monitor, and report on public resource management and expenditures. Governments are facing an ever-growing demand to be more accountable, transparent, and effective when it comes to resource management and public policy. Citizens are becoming more assertive about their rights to be informed and to influence government's decision-making processes. Citizens in many countries have caught on to the idea and process and are now engaged in some form of social audit activity at the local, provincial, or national levels. There is growing information about social audit that document and explain CSO strategies and best practices in different countries and provide useful lessons. Governments are looking for new ways to evaluate their performance, while civil society organizations are gaining more capacity to monitor and verify how public policy and resources are performing. Now, we will try to discuss some of the important objectives of social auditing. Some of the main objectives of social audit are to promote transparency and accountability in the implementation of government schemes and programs, to strengthen democracy and grassroots institutions, to encourage the active participation of people in the effective implementation of schemes and programs, to engage, inform, educate, and empower local individuals, particularly beneficiaries of the schemes and programs, about their rights. To provide a platform for local individuals, especially beneficiaries of the schemes and programs, to express their basic needs and grievances. To enhance the capacity of individuals participating in the social audit, to strengthen schemes and programs by improving planning based on feedback received through the social audit. Furthermore, social audit serves as a platform for individuals to voice their basic needs and grievances. providing a space for open dialogue, enables the government to address the people's concern and work towards meeting their requirements. Now, we will discuss the development of social audit in India. In 1965, India hosted an international seminar on social responsibility of businesses. This seminar led to the formulation of declaration that defined the social responsibility of businesses as their duty towards customers, shareholders, and the community. Interestingly, this declaration shared similarities with the Gandhian concept of trusteeship. One of the earliest official documents on social responsibilities and social audits of companies in India is the 1978 Sachar Committee report on Companies and MRTP Act. This report emphasized that a company's awareness of its duty to the public should be evaluated based on its involvement in various aspects of its area, such as the welfare of its employees and their families, adult literacy, employment policies that include marginalized sections of society, and inclusion of differently abled individuals. The report also recognized that organizations outside India considered additional factors like consumers' health, well-being, and safety, as well as the employment of minority, backward, and women personnel when assessing their social responsibility. In recommending that companies conduct social audits of their social responsibilities, the report emphasized the importance of sharing this information with shareholders and public in a specific and measurable manner. It highlighted the need for companies to disclose their social contributions in monetary terms rather than providing vague statements. The Sachar Committee report underscored the significance of corporate contributions towards fulfilling society's needs. It emphasized that the resources, manpower, raw material utilized by the corporate sector inherently impose a responsibility to maintain a balance between the company's needs and the requirements of the society. The 9th five-year plan laid a strong focus on social audits for the efficient operation of Panchayat Raj institutions and gave Gram Sabhas the authority to perform social audit in addition to other duties. The National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005 stipulates that social audits must be conducted on a regular basis to maintain the program's accountability and openness. Over the years, several other states became quite active in social audit. Meghalaya was the first state in India to implement the Meghalaya Community Participation and Public Services Social Audit Act of 2017. The Act includes provisions for the appointment of a social audit facilitator. He or she will conduct the audit directly with the people. The findings of the social audit are submitted to the Gram Sabha, and it then provides inputs and forwards the result to the auditors. The Social Audit Council is set up to assess government programs during their implementations. The Act specifies a list of projects, programs, and schemes that need to undergo social audits. In addition, it is important to mention that some states in India have successfully implemented social audits in various schemes and programs. They include Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana by Uttar Pradesh, Meghalaya, West Bengal, and Chhattisgarh, Public Distribution System by Karnataka, Midday Meal Scheme Program by Uttarakhand and Karnataka, Swachh Bharat Mission by Telangana and Karnataka, Integrated Child Development Services Program by Telangana, Sitri Nidhi Loans to Self-Help Groups by Telangana, Tribal Development Society Programs by Jharkhand, and Rural Drinking Water Scheme by Karnataka. These examples highlight the commitment of these states towards transparency and accountability in their respective programs. By implementing social audits, they have taken significant steps towards ensuring the effective utilization of resources and the delivery of quality services to the intended beneficiaries. Social audit in India is an evolving process that aligns with the principles of good governance, transparency, and citizen engagement. While there may be challenges, the practice contributes significantly to fostering accountability, empowering local communities, and improving the overall effectiveness of social welfare programs. So, to conclude, we can say that social audit is a collaborative process between public and the government to monitor the planning and execution of policies and programs intended to benefit the people. It involves a comprehensive examination and analysis of the social relevance of public utilities. The fundamental principles of social audit are closely tied to the concepts of democracy and participation. Social audit assesses the impact of specific governmental activities on various segments of society that interact with government agencies. It empowers the people who are the ultimate beneficiaries of any welfare scheme, developmental project, program, policy, or law to audit and evaluate these initiatives. This process entails the active involvement of both service providers and users, systematically comparing the actual benefits achieved with the expected ones while also considering any unforeseen consequences. Its objective is to ensure that the design and implementation of the activity or project align with the prevailing local conditions, reflect the priorities and preferences of those affected by it, and effectively serve the public interest. The social audit findings are shared with all stakeholders, and if any issues are identified, steps are taken to initiate the necessary change. Social audit plays a crucial role in ensuring transparency and accountability in the implementation of government schemes and programs. Promoting an open and inclusive approach empowers individuals at the grassroots level and strengthens democratic institutions. Through active participation, local individuals, particularly beneficiaries, are encouraged to contribute to the effective implementation of schemes and programs. They are provided with the necessary information and education to understand their rights and make informed decisions. So, dear students, that was all about today's lecture regarding social audit and development. Thank you.